All right, welcome back. So in this video, I'm just going to do a quick overview of some of the chart features inside of NinjaTrader. Again, there's a bunch of tutorials on how to do these things, but there's only a few that you really need to learn, and I'm just going to walk you through some of the ones that I use on a regular basis so that they become really easy for you to use as well. So this is the chart that we created. So you can see right now I have a pointer as a mouse. So I actually personally prefer to have the crosshairs. So for crosshairs, let me show you what that is. This gives you an idea of the time and the price of any bar that you are on. And if you hover over a bar and you do a middle mouse button click, it'll give you all the information on that bar. So you can see here we have the open, which is the O, the high, which is the H, the L, which is the low, and the C, which is the close, and then the volume on those bars. And you also have the date and the time at the top. So that's if you do the middle mouse button click. Okay, a couple other things. You can come over here on the price axis, and if you left click on your mouse, you can scrunch it up. And when you do that, what you're going to notice is you have a little F up here at the top. What that means is you have a fixed price axis. So if I scroll my chart this way, eventually price is going to disappear. So if you ever see this happening to you, it's because you have this little F up here and you had fixed the price axis. To fix that, just go up there and click the F, and everything is right back to where it goes away from being fixed. Okay, now if you are scrolling left through a chart, you're going to see this little arrow up here. If you click that arrow, it's going to take you to current time. All right. The other thing you can do, if you don't want to scrunch up the chart, you can actually hold down Control on your keyboard, and you can actually move the entire chart like this. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, maybe you're in a trade, and the chart is manipulated because you have some very large bars. So you've had a big move down over here on the left, and it's making your current action look small. Let me see if I can find a good example of that. Here's an example where we've had a move up, a fairly large move. Let's say you're taking a trade here. Well, you might want to see where your target is, and with price this far to the top of your price action, you're not going to be able to see where your target is. So if you hold the Control button down, you can actually move this down so you can get an idea of how far this thing has to go to hit your price target. Okay? So again, you'll see this F if you do that because you've suddenly fixed your axis. All right. The other thing you can do is you can scrunch down here as well as much as you want, or you can scrunch it out as much as or you can zoom it out as much as you want. All right, let's go back to the crosshairs. So you have a few different options. You have local, which is just going to be for this chart. You have global, and you have global no time scroll. So let's review what these are. Currently we have just one chart up here. Let's say we want to have a second chart. Well, let's duplicate the chart we have. We can come down to this tab and we can right click, and we can either duplicate in a new tab or we can duplicate in a new window. Let's do the new window, and then let's right click and go to data series, and here let's change this to a 4-hour chart. So now we have a 4-hour chart and a 60-minute chart. Now here's a neat little trick. If you hold the window button down on your keyboard and you hit the left arrow, this chart is going to move it's going to split in half on the screen and move to the left. And then you're going to be able to choose whatever else you want to put on the right half of your screen. So let's choose this was the chart we were on. So now you can see we have a 60-minute and a 240-minute. If my crosshairs here are set to local, it's only going to be on this chart. if I go to global, you can see it's still only on this chart, but if I come over here and I change this to global, suddenly I'm able to track on both charts. But you can see my 4-hour chart, anytime I move my mouse on the 4-hour chart, my 60-minute chart goes with it. Well, that's really handy if I'm testing or if I'm trying to really zoom in on a particular pattern that I want to understand. Maybe I want to understand this area right here. Well, I can go over to my 60-minute and I can see what it looks like bar by bar. Now, if I don't want my 60-minute to scroll, I need to come over here and I need to go to no time scroll. Now, my 60-minute does not scroll. I'm still global, but it doesn't scroll with my 4-hour chart. A lot of times what I do is I make this one set to no time scroll, but then I take my higher time frame and I let it scroll so that when I move my 60-minute, my 4-hour moves with it. Make sense? Cool. All right, so let's go ahead and review a few other options. For those of you who either own the platform or are leasing the platform, you're going to have an option up here called NinjaTrader. You can come up here and turn it on, and what this does is it allows you to trade directly from the chart. So I can do a buy market right here, and it will just buy right at the current price. You're able to select whatever account that you want. I don't have live data connected right now. It's over the weekend, the markets are closed, so you don't see any accounts. But here's where you can select your account, you can select your quantity. Let's take a look at adding indicators to a chart. So you can just right click on your chart, go to indicators, and you're going to have a whole list of standard indicators inside of here. This is where you can apply, say, a moving average. Maybe I want to apply an exponential moving average. I can put my period up here. Say I want to look at the 200. That's a popular one. And I can come down here. I can change the color. Let's say I want it to be red. I can change the thickness. If I want it to be a dash instead of a solid line, I can change that here. The other thing you'll see I'll open up a different one, but actually, you know what? Let me just type it in here. So a lot of times you'll see a label in here that just says what it is, like it's an EMA. And so if you hit apply, you're going to see your moving average on the chart, and you're going to see a label up here. I prefer to get rid of labels. I like my charts to be clean. So I always come in here and I delete those. And then if you hit apply, you'll see that label goes away. That's just a personal preference. You can do whatever you want to do. And then you can also come in here and save a template. So let's just say you have an indicator and you make a bunch of changes to it and you want to save those settings. You can just go to template and save. That way, every time you apply that indicator, it opens up with your last saved settings. So you guys feel free to play around in here. There's a bunch of different options of different indicators to play with. So anyway, I just want to show you how to get to those. So that's how you get to the indicators. All right, trying to think what else we should cover here. Let's just quickly do a cover of the drawing tools. If you right click, you can go to drawing tools, and then here you have a whole list of different tools. You can do an ellipse if you want to mark a price. You can write on your chart. If you go to text, then you can actually just click on your chart and say you can maybe this was a pattern that you liked and you want to go back and review. So you can maybe just make a note here, review the pattern. And if you open P-A-T-T-E-R-N, right? Not P-A-T-T-E-R. So then you hit apply. So you can double click on the text and it opens up this box. You can actually continue typing inside of here if you want to go to a different line. So say you want to type more data in here, you can just do that by hitting return and expanding on that line. So you can see then that shows up on your chart. Okay, so that's all for walking through some of the basic features. From here, I want to review different order types, and then we're going to get into the meat of the system. I'll see you in the next video.